Their love story began like a summer storm, sudden and full of life. Alex and Sophia met on a windswept coastline, both seeking adventure, and found it in each other's eyes. He was a photographer, always chasing the perfect light, and she was a writer, weaving words to capture the world's beauty. Their days were filled with spontaneous road trips, dancing in the rain, and late-night talks under a blanket of stars. They believed their love was a fortress, strong enough to withstand anything. The world seemed to fade away whenever they were together, leaving only the two of them in a perfect, sun-drenched bubble of happiness and dreams. Their wedding was a simple affair on that very same beach where they first met. It was less a formal ceremony and more a joyful declaration to the universe. They promised each other forever, not with grand, rehearsed speeches but with heartfelt whispers carried on the ocean breeze. Their first year of marriage was an extension of their whirlwind romance. They built a home together, filling it with laughter, art, and the scent of Sophia's favorite flowers. Every day felt like a new chapter in a fairy tale they were writing together, a story of a love so pure and powerful it seemed destined to last for all time. They were inseparable, two halves of a single soul. Alex's photographs were all of Sophia, capturing the way her eyes lit up when she smiled. Sophia's stories were all inspired by Alex, by his quiet strength and his adventurous spirit. They encouraged each other's passions, celebrated every small victory, and held each other through every minor setback. Their friends looked at them with a mixture of awe and envy, seeing in them the kind of love that everyone hopes for but few ever truly find. Their connection was palpable, a tangible thing that warmed everyone who came near it. But even the brightest sun must contend with passing clouds. They believed their passion was enough, that the sheer force of their feelings would carry them through any challenge. They never imagined that something as simple as unspoken words or quiet resentments could ever threaten their perfect world. In the golden glow of their early days, they were blissfully unaware of the subtle cracks beginning to form just beneath the surface. They were so focused on the horizon that they didn't see the storm gathering much closer to home, a storm that would soon test the very foundations of their love. The second year of their marriage brought a slow, creeping chill. The vibrant colors of their life together began to fade into muted shades of gray. Small disagreements, once resolved with a laugh and a kiss, now lingered in the air like a stubborn fog. Alex's long hours at his studio began to feel like an escape, while Sophia's quiet evenings spent writing felt like a retreat into a world he couldn't enter. Pride became a wall between them, each one too stubborn to admit their own hurt or to see the pain in the other's eyes. The silence in their home grew louder than any argument ever could. The unresolved issues piled up like unread letters, each one a testament to their growing distance. A forgotten anniversary, a harsh word spoken in haste, a promise left unkept. These small wounds festered, never given the chance to heal. They stopped sharing their dreams and started nursing their grievances in solitude. The easy laughter that once filled their home was replaced by a tense quiet, broken only by the mundane necessities of a life lived in parallel. They were two ships passing in the night, lonely and lost in the very ocean of love they once navigated so joyfully together. The breaking point came not with a dramatic fight, but with a quiet, heartbreaking admission. "I don't know who you are anymore," Sophia whispered one evening, and Alex had no answer because he felt the same way. The fortress they had built crumbled, and they decided to separate. It was a decision made from exhaustion, not from a lack of love. The love was still there, buried under layers of pride, misunderstanding, and pain. They packed their bags with heavy hearts, leaving behind a home that was no longer a sanctuary but a museum of a love that had lost its way. Living apart was a cold and lonely existence. Each day was a stark reminder of what they had lost. Alex would see a beautiful sunset and instinctively reach for his phone to call Sophia, only to remember he couldn't. Sophia would write a line of poetry that perfectly captured her feelings and ached to share it with Alex. They were surrounded by friends and family, yet they had never felt more alone. The separation was supposed to give them space, but all it gave them was a profound and aching emptiness, a void that only the other person could ever hope to fill. It was their friends and family who refused to let their story end so tragically. They saw the lingering love that Alex and Sophia were too proud to see in themselves. Sophia's sister sat with her for hours, gently suggesting that some wounds require a guide to help them heal. Alex's best friend took him out for a long drive, reminding him of the man he was when he first fell in love. A man who would fight for what mattered. They were encouraged not to give up, but to try a different path: therapy. The suggestion was a lifeline thrown into the turbulent waters of their separation. Hesitantly, they agreed to meet in a therapist's office, a neutral space where their pride had no place to hide. The first few sessions were difficult, filled with awkward silences and carefully chosen words, but their therapist was patient, creating a safe harbor where they could finally unload the heavy baggage they had been carrying. They learned to listen, truly listen, not just to the words but to the hurt and fear behind them. They began to understand that their problems weren't about a lack of love but a lack of communication and a surplus of pride that had poisoned their connection. Slowly, like the first light of dawn breaking through the darkness, they began to find their way back to each other. They started talking about their fears instead of hiding them, and admitting their faults instead of placing blame. With each session, another brick in the wall between them crumbled. They rediscovered the people they had fallen in love with, buried beneath layers of resentment. Alex saw Sophia's vulnerability not as a weakness, but as a beautiful part of her soul. Sophia saw Alex's need for solitude not as rejection but as his way of recharging his creative spirit. The journey was not easy, and it required a conscious choice every single day. They had to choose forgiveness over resentment, understanding over judgment, and vulnerability over pride. They started with coffee dates, then dinners, relearning the simple art of being together. The laughter returned, softer at first, then growing more confident. They were not just repairing their old relationship, they were building a new one from the ground up, with a stronger foundation built on honesty, respect, and the hard-won wisdom that comes from weathering a terrible storm. They were choosing love again. To celebrate their third anniversary, Alex and Sophia decided against a quiet dinner. They wanted to mark the occasion with a bold statement of their renewed commitment. They threw a party for all the friends and family who had supported them, calling it "Our New Beginning." In the warm glow of twilight in their backyard, surrounded by the people they loved most, they renewed their vows. This time, the promises were different. They weren't the naive promises of a new couple, but the seasoned, intentional promises of two people who had seen the darkness and chosen the light. Their new vows spoke of forgiveness, patience, and the courage to be imperfect together. They promised to communicate even when it was hard, to listen even when they disagreed, and to always choose love, especially on the days when it felt like the most difficult choice of all. As they spoke their vows, there wasn't a dry eye in the garden. Their journey had become more than just their own story. It was a powerful testament to the resilience of the human heart. Their new beginning was not about erasing the past, but about honoring it as the trial that had made their love stronger and more profound than ever before. Their story did not go unnoticed. Other couples in their circle, facing their own struggles, began to seek them out for advice. Alex and Sophia, humbled by their own experience, started mentoring others. They shared their story openly and honestly, not as experts but as fellow travelers who had found their way back from a painful detour. They emphasized that a perfect relationship isn't one without problems, but one where two people are willing to do the hard work to overcome them. Their love, once a private fairy tale, had become a public beacon of hope. In the end, Alex and Sophia's journey teaches a timeless lesson about love. It is not a passive feeling, but an active choice, a choice made every day. It is about forgiveness, growth, and the incredible power of a second chance. Their love story, reborn from the ashes of pride and pain, became a living example that even after the coldest night, a new dawn is possible. It showed everyone that true, lasting love isn't about never falling apart. It's about the strength, courage, and commitment to put the pieces back together, creating something even more beautiful and resilient than before.